Okay, so today I am here with Mr. Michael Wilson at the Bringing Out the Millionaire in You conference, and he has a booth here. Can you tell us a little bit about your booth?
Yes, we're CM Institute of Leadership, and we provide business coaching, leadership development, corporate training, and basically it's to help businesses go from where they're at now. We can get them to the point where they want to be,
Okay.
and it can be strategy, it can be training, but we've been helping a lot of businesses, and we're highly involved in the community, and it's about the business, and we're trying to make them grow.
Okay. So can you give me like maybe your favorite example of a business that you all have helped and that's really thriving right now?
Uh, let's see. Oh my goodness, so many of them right now. What I can think is compliance. It's a poster company, and they have a wonderful team. Uh, they're called Compliance Solutions, and they have a wonderful team. And we're trying to coach them get to the point where it's a brand new business, and it's been around for about a year, but they're growing extraordinary, and they're doing a really good job. And so we coached them and coached their team, and they're really going multiple level, I mean, higher level of capacity.
Now I wanted to ask you, is it mainly startups that you guys are working with, or is it anywhere from startups to businesses that are well established already?
Actually, we do from startup to government agencies.
Wow. Okay.
So it's anywhere, anybody that needs help, that's what we do. Mhm.
Okay. And do you guys have a website or anything like?
Yes, sir. It's CM Institute Leadership.com.
Okay. CMInstituteLeadership.com.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, Mr. Wilson, thank you so much.
Thank you. That was a pleasure.
So I am here with the brilliant speaker, brilliant connector, Mr. Milton Gonzalez. Mr. Gonzalez, thank you for
Hey,
taking
thank
the
you.
time
Thank
out
you.
with me today. And can you just tell the people a little bit about, what you plan to do here at the Bringing the Millionaire Out of You conference?
Well, every time I attend any one of these conferences, I speak at a conference, the idea is to add value to at least one individual. If one life can be transformed, one life can be changed, and if I can serve as a catalyst for that change, I've done what God has called me to do.
Wow.
So that's what we're here for today.
Wow. And you spoke about having a genuine care for people, but there are some people out there that they feel like they may not have been born with the ability to genuinely care for people and genuinely care for their interests. What advice would you give to those people to kind of generate a genuine care for people?
Right. And caring and what I talk about is the ability to connect. And in connecting, of course, you care for people. People, I would say 90% of all people are not born with the gift of connecting. It's something that has to be developed. You have to learn it. So 10% are born with that, just like leadership. 10% of all individuals are born with leadership abilities. The other 90% have to learn it and develop it through mentorship, through education, reading books, going online. That's how you develop that. And it's the same way with connecting.
And you said something in your speech today about you were reading books by Dale Carnegie. You were reading the self help books. You wasn't reading the comics. And sometimes those self help books may be looked down upon, amongst believers because it's like, well, it's that those books are focused more about self and not on God. So, what are your thoughts and ideas on that?
So my personal mentor is John Maxwell. I'm part of the John Maxwell Presidential Advisory Council. I've been since age 9, which was a while back. I've been reading Dale Carnegie, Zig Ziglar, Og Mandino, John Maxwell, Les Brown. I've been watching them. I've been studying them. I've always been fascinated by how they were able to engage people in a public arena such as this. So looking at it from a biblical perspective as a believer, people think that it is selfish to put self before others. But I've always taught that God first, second is ourselves. Biblical principle, fill in the blank. Love your neighbor as.
Yourself.
Okay, so if you can't love yourself, if you can't nurture and grow yourself, forgive yourself, accept yourself, like yourself, you can't do it for other people. It's that simple. That's what it's all about.
And I mean, it's like you practice what you preach because in your speech you spoke about being a river, pouring into other people, not harboring your gifts for yourself, but sharing your gifts. And that's exactly what you're doing right now, taking the time out to just speak with me, to connect with someone that's watching this video, to help someone, be in the river. So I just want to thank you for being a living testament of what you speak about, sir.
Thank you, brother. And I know that you are going to do well in life, young man.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you connecting with me.
Yes, sir.
God bless you. You're going to do well in life.
God bless you as well, sir. So I am here with Miss Marie Cosgrove, who is an entrepreneur, an investor, and CEO of Balance Back, here at the Bringing Out the Millionaire in You conference. And can you just speak a little bit about your story of how you became CEO of Balance Back?
Sure, absolutely. So my name is Marie Cosgrove, and I'm honored to be here with you. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Kushan?
Yes, ma'am. Kushan.
Thank you, Kushan. Thank you so much. I started off in sales, and it was really a tough job because I was doing sales for a medical device company, and it was tough getting that job. They told me that it was only for men. It was a
Okay.
male-dominated industry.
Wow.
And they said, you really can't do this. And I said, give me an opportunity. Let me go to training. I'll pay my own way for training. And they said, okay, come on up for training. So I was in a room kind of like this size that's here in the conference, and they were all males. I'm the only female in this room.
Really?
Yes, and the only minority.
Get out of here.
Yeah, the only minority. And I'm doing good. I'm excited. I didn't pay attention to those details, and I'm scoring high scores. I got 100 on the test. The last day of the training, the president comes over to me and he says, little girl, you're never going to make it in this industry. This is a man's world. Why don't you just go home?
Wow.
And I said, hey, I scored 100 on this test. I can do this. And he says, no, you can't do this. And I said, you know what? I was upset because he was telling me this in front of the whole room.
Wow.
And
not even a private one-on-one?
No, it wasn't a private one-on-one. And people were snickering and laughing. And I said, you know what? Why don't you just watch me? Give me 30 days, straight commission. You have nothing to lose.
Right.
So he gave me a contract for 30 days.
His mistake.
Yes, his mistake. I came back home to the Rio Grande Valley. I was born and raised here. And I was a single mom at the time with 4 kids. And my grandfather, who helped raise me, was diagnosed with leukemia. I didn't have a father growing up, so he was my father to me. And I was at the hospital with him every day. And after about the 3rd week, he died from leukemia. And I got a call from the president, and he says, little girl, we're canceling your contract. And I said, why? And he says, your time's up. You haven't sold anything. Wow. And I said, I have 1 week left. He just laughed and hung up on me. Wow. That week, I called on hundreds of doctors. Doors got slammed on me. And I finally made a sale on the last day. It was a Friday. I'll never forget. I was at this doctor's office, and he had just built his 5th medical office, and they hadn't brought in the furniture. They had a stool, and he says, sit on the stool, my furniture's not in yet, but be careful, don't step up. Oh, no worries. So I sit down, and I'm doing my presentation. That stool shot all the way back. Oh. I fell on my back, my 2 legs sticking straight up. No. And he comes up, he's like, are you okay? He either felt sorry for me or I did a good job closing him, because that day he bought over $120,000 worth of equipment from me. Yes. And that one sale, I exceeded the quota for like over 2 months.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That's an amazing story. So what advice would you have for like women and minorities that are in a tough situation such as that?
Don't give up and don't take it personally. There are people that will always have an opinion of who you are, but that doesn't make it a reality. I've gone through a lot of situations. For example, these people told me that I could never do it because I was a female, but I knew I could do it. And I know that anybody can do it. If I can do it, You can do it. And it doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter whether you're female or male. Anybody can do it. Absolutely. Anybody can do it.
Wow. Well, Ms. Cosgrove, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time out to speak with me and even encourage and motivate others.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, so I am back with Ms. Cosgrove, and it's part 2. And, you were telling me before that after the quota, like what happened after you got that large quota?
So after I made that large quota, the president says, well, this is just a fluke. Let's see how you really do. Let's see if that check really does clear. Well, it did clear. Within 6 months, I was beating all of the national sales representatives. And then within 1 year, I was the number 1 national representative in the country.
Within 1 year?
Within 1 year. Then, unfortunately, the distributor, the president of the company, lost their license to sell the product.
Wow.
So when he lost his license, I couldn't sell that product. So I had to find other products to sell because I had signed a non-compete, and he said, if you compete, I will go after you. And I'm a single mom with 4 kids. So I couldn't sell that product, and I had to learn a new product to sell. They didn't want to hire me. Same thing. I'm a woman, and it's a man's world.
And this is a different company?
This is a different company.
Oh, my.
However, the reason they gave me a chance is because I had already proven myself, and they knew that I could do it.
Okay.
I got the contract, and again, I made number 1 national sales representative within 6 months. Again.
For the second time?
Second time. After about a year and a half, I receive a call from the president, and he says, we need to talk to you. One of our marketing VPs is going to call you. And I said, okay. We scheduled a meeting, and during the meeting, they said, we're going to have to cut your commission and pay you salary. The salary was a lot less than what I was making.
Yeah, they figured that.
Yes, and I said, I can't do that. I'm a single mom with 4 kids. 2 had serious medical conditions. My son had JDMS at that time. He was getting shots and physical therapy every single week. We had to get his eyesight, his internal organs checked every month, so it was very expensive. I had no insurance, and it was costing me $5,000 a month just for his medical care. A month is what it was costing me. And my daughter was suffering from JDMS because of domestic violence that she experienced, and that's why I ended up being a single mom. I had full support of the kids, and I had no support outside. I was on my own with the 4 kids. I could not afford to take that cut. So I said, no, I can't do that cut. And they said, well, then you're fired. You can't sell for us anymore.
So you're fired, just like that?
Just like that. Just fired. No job. 4 kids, $5,000 worth of medical expenses a month. I had to reinvent myself. I didn't have a choice. I couldn't sit home and have a pity party. I didn't have time for that. You know, when Les Brown says you gotta be hungry, I can't do it like he does. I was hungry, literally hungry. But not only me, my 4 kids were hungry too. All of us were hungry. And I had to reinvent myself and start another company, and I did that.
So, like, did you have, like, just a major breakdown before that? Or, like, did you have a mental breakdown? Like, were you just crying all night? Or, like, what did that look? Can you paint a picture of what you looked like when you got the news that you were fired?
I was hurt because I had made a couple of sales, and they weren't going to pay me on that. I didn't have time to be depressed and cry because I had 4 kids at home that were hungry, so I had to find something quick to do. So I started making phone calls to a bunch of different manufacturers asking if I could sell their product. In the meantime, I worked on developing a new product. Okay. So I brought another product onto market, and in the meantime, I'm selling at the same time, and the money I'm making is paying my expenses and then extra money going into a new company. Within 2 years, I got a call from the company that had fired me if I wanted to invest. They knew how successful I had been, and they said, we want you to invest in the company. And I said, let me look at your financials. I flew over there to Dayton, Ohio. I looked at their financials, And what I noticed was I had made the majority of the sales while I was there.
Wow.
So I said, I don't want to invest in the company. I want to buy the majority of the shares in the company.
How did they take that?
After like 6 months of negotiations, they finally agreed, and I purchased the majority shares in the company. And then that's how I became the CEO of Balance Back.
And that's how funny life is. Like
Yes.
the job that you got fired from, you came back and bought
The
that
company. Yes. Yes. So remember, whenever you have a setback, your comeback is going to be way stronger. And it's hard to see when you're down in the setback, but it's there. I promise you. Just don't stay too low too long. You got to get back up. You got to get back up.
And stay hungry.
And stay hungry. And stay hungry. Absolutely.
Well, Ms.
Absolutely.
Cosgrove, thank you so much for that inspiring
Thank you.
story. Hopefully those that are watching are inspired by your story and they're able to have a great comeback as well.
Yes. Awesome.
Thank you. So today I am here at the Bringing Out the Millionaire In You conference, and I am here with
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, and Elizabeth has a booth here. Elizabeth, can you tell us a little bit about your booth?
Sure. We are with Main Event Entertainment, and we are a family fun entertainment area for the Pharr area.
Okay. So I asked her earlier, is it something like Dave and Buster's? And she said it's actually better than Dave and Buster's. So can you kind of explain to me why is it better?
So we're a little different. A lot different. We offer 26 lanes of bowling. We have laser tag, interactive laser tag, 2 levels. And then we have gravity ropes course and 100 plus 3D, 4D interactive arcades. We also are a full service restaurant area, cafe, and a great bar area. Plus we have private meeting spaces for team building events, corporate group outings, youth events. So we have a little bit of everything for everyone and every age.
Okay, and do you see the main event maybe growing into, like a big chain, a national chain?
We actually are a corporate. So we have about 39 locations throughout the United States, primarily in Texas. It is Dallas-based company, but we do have about 39 different main event centers throughout the United States.
Well, thank you so much, Elizabeth.
No worries. Thank you. Good seeing you.
So I am here with Miss Candace Fox, who is owner of Fit Science LLC here in Texas. And if you're wondering what this trophy is all about, it's because we're going to have a competition, a physique competition between me and Miss Fox. We're going to show the guns. No, I'm kidding. Miss Fox. Exactly, it's Miss Fox. Miss Fox, so can you tell us what is this trophy all about?
This trophy, I won it in New York City, where I won my second pro card for the World Natural Bodybuilding Federation in figure category.
Wow. So how long were you training for that?
Well, I've been training, altogether I've been doing this for 7 years, but it took me 5 years to earn my first pro card, but that was in Fit Body, which is another example of female physique. And the year after that, I won it for figure, so.
Okay, and what do you all specialize in over at Fit Science?
We offer personal training, boot camps, online training, basically whatever your fitness goals are, I can help you reach them. What I tell everybody is as long as you listen to me, then I could wave the magic wand like the fairy godmother.
Okay. And what about the ones that don't listen to you?
Then there's only so much I could do, because I pretty much give you all the tools you need, but one of the biggest things is getting people to listen.
So what is your favorite workout regimen? Is it CrossFit, weightlifting, cardio?
My favorite would have to be, can I pick 2?
You can.
Okay. My favorite first is weight training. I do not believe in CrossFit because I like to train smart, because being a professional bodybuilder, I have to make sure I don't get injured, because it's all about symmetry of the muscle and aesthetics. And if you're throwing all this weight around and that falls on you, or you rip of muscle or anything like that, that's going to take off from your symmetry and your aesthetics. Wow. So yeah, when you go into competition, you're not going to be able to place as high because they grade you on your muscularity development and the symmetry of your muscles side to side, up and down. Now, second would be running, which I was never a runner before. I was actually never fit before. I just been fit for the past 11 years. But one of the things I could never do was run. And I got into running to advertise my gym, so I started doing the local 5Ks, and I was whipping a lot of people's butts out there at the age of 35, top female winner at all these 5Ks down here where I was beating even some of the high school kids. Now I'm 38 and I host my own 5Ks where I raise money for several different nonprofits.
And I thought you were 30. When you said 35, I was like, no, get out of here. But and so you said you haven't always been fit, but it seems like you've been fit forever. Like, what were you before, and how'd you make that transition?
Well, to be very honest, before I struggled with weight a lot. When I was 12 years old, I was an obese child. I wore a size 16 at the age of 12. I wasn't raised in a very good household, so I suffered from not only gaining all the weight from being an abused child, but also it developed into bulimia because of being picked at school for being fat and wearing glasses and being poor and being smart. So from the age of 12 all throughout high school, I struggled with weight, I struggled with drug abuse, I struggled with a lot of things from being depressed and not happy with myself. Once I got over the drug addiction and all those things, I got into college and my dreams were to be a lawyer. However, my mother was diagnosed with cancer and I started studying what was going on with her to try to help her out. And I figured out how I was still hurting myself by not exercising, still drinking too much, not sleeping enough, finding every excuse why I couldn't cook at home, had my son on fast food and all those different things. So I figured that if I got healthy, she would try to get healthy. And I ended up losing about 45 pounds and I got ripped like in 4 months from eating clean. And that's what started my fitness career because I started having so many people question me, but why did I look different than the other trainers? I just didn't know that the other trainers were on sports performance drugs. So I looked feminine even though I was muscular. And
So you don't use the performance enhancing drugs?
The World Natural Bodybuilding Federation, we are drug tested like the Olympians. So I'm drug tested 3 to 5 times a year, and which I don't mind because if I'm trying to tell you to get healthy, why am I being a hypocrite and doing something that's detrimental to my health? Plus, I'm not a guy. I'm not trying to be a guy, so I don't see why you would want to do a male hormone in the first place.
Okay. And that was actually one of my questions. Like, did you even go to school for physical fitness? But, you said you went to school for law.
Well, I didn't make it all the way through to law school. So I instead became a Zumba instructor first. I started a blog, then I became a Zumba instructor, and I kept on having people wanting me to train them. But I didn't feel comfortable training people because I didn't want to hurt anybody. So after being, pursued for so many years after that, I decided to get my certification with the National Academy of Sports Medicine, which is the NASM certification. Okay. Wow. So I've been a personal trainer now for about 10 years, Zumba instructor, worked for 2 gyms for about 6. Started my own gym, which is Fit Science, which is 7 years now.
7 years, right?
Yes, and I've had a lot of success with a lot of clients because I pretty much tell them the truth, and I'm not trying to shove pills down their throat. Right. I try to give them the tools to eat right, eat strategically, where they still have a life and they can have their Coke and cakes and, because not everybody's a bodybuilder like me, so, And I never went for kinesiology of any of those things, but to be honest, in kinesiology, they really don't teach you anything about being healthy. They just teach you about being a coach.
Wow. Well, congratulations on the 7 years running. Congratulations on this trophy, which I'll be taking home with me. Yeah. I'm kidding.
Well, I'm kidding. Gun contest.
No, we did it. Okay, let's see.
All right, let's get it out there.
It's gun time. It's gun time.
Here, let me hold your mic.
Oh, there you go. She's serious. Okay.
Yeah, super serious, man.
We gotta have the gun contest.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you ready, sir?
It's gun contest time. Uh-oh.
Who do you think? Who do you think,
YouTube?
Who do you think's bigger?
Let us
Yeah.
Well,
I guess I still got the trophy.
I'm gonna give her the trophy.
Thank you very much.
She's earned it. She's earned it.